Welcome to the Bombshell Business Podcast, where driven women in business learn how to become more bold, brave, and unwaveringly confident. Feel empowered and challenged through inspiring stories and tell it like it is advice for business, life, and leadership. Hey Bombshells, welcome back to the Bombshell Business Podcast, or welcome if this is your first time listening. We love having you here. Today we are going to talk about how to get your poop in a group when you are overwhelmed. And I even have a Priority Planner Worksheet that I will walk you through. But before we start that, I always like to give you some love and thank you. And I have been getting some messages apparently in the hosting software that we use to send the podcast out to like iHeartRadio and iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube or wherever it is that you listen to this if you don't go directly to amberhurdle.com/podcasts. And so I found these comments. I'm like, what? So I was a little delayed answering some questions, and I very much appreciate your patience in that. I had no idea that these were there, or that it was even a possibility. I even posted in one of my podcast groups on Facebook, and everybody else was like, I didn't know that that was there either. And they're like super seasoned podcasters. So we kind of all had a little learning moment there. Okay, so let's thank Karen. Karen listened to episode 32, Start and Grow Your Side Business with Christy Wright's Business Boutique. So I know many of you are big Christy fans, and I am now since we met and got to chat. I didn't really know much about her until she was on my show, and then I was on hers. So super amazing woman who does great things for the women in business community. So Karen heard that episode and said, Amber, I've been a loyal listener for some time now. The motivation and value that I get from you and your guests has set me on action. Yes, I love hearing that. Christy Wright moves me in much the same way. The two of you together is a combination of power, talent, and business knowledge that listeners are lucky to have. Thanks for sharing. Karen, thank you. Thank you for that encouragement. It's great to hear that it's making a difference. It's definitely helpful to share these things because then other people, they know that it's legit and it's just not going to be another fluff show because there's enough of those out there. And sometimes we need that, but I really like the actionable advice side of things. And, finally, I know that Christy and I both are very grateful to hear the feedback, to know that what we're doing is working, because she and I are both driven. We don't want to do things just for the sake of doing them. Neither of us are in it for ego. And so if you're using what we teach in your businesses, then that's why we get up in the morning, outside of our families and all that stuff, of course, but that's why we do what we do. So it's very encouraging, Karen. And I just really appreciate the fact that you took the time to share that with me. Okay, so let's get into today. Y'all know I have had a crazy season between the book tour and speaking and travel and all that kind of stuff. I am actually using this Priority Planner Worksheet myself. So, I'm a hyper planner, and I do love to have my ducks in a row, and I know many of my bombshells do as well. And then some of my bombshells, y'all are kind of more fly by the seat of your pants, and you are looking to have a little more structure in your life. So no matter which way you are, sometimes life can just be disruptive. And in those cases, there's just so many things that need to get done, or so many little things nagging at your brain. And it doesn't even have to do with business. You could be sitting at your desk and your brain is at the grocery store, or at, re-registering your child for a sport or school. It could be, the financial planning that you really need to sit down and do with your spouse. It could be so many different things that are on your brain. And sometimes it's just hard, especially in this world that is so ADD. Everything is just instantaneous, and our attention spans are smaller and smaller and smaller. We just need to bring it on in and decide what is the next step. And then after that, what is the next step? And after that, what is the next step? So we have a clear line of action, and not just a discombobulated, overwhelming pile of stuff that we have to get done with no idea of where to even begin. So if it makes you feel any better, there are moments where I feel that way too. And I feel like it hits me more when I'm traveling, because I have like a couple days where I'm in the flow, I'm doing the stuff, I'm in my normal everyday, and then I have to go away. I do a speaking gig. I'm fully focused on that. Beforehand, I'm meeting with either executives, or if it's an association or like a conference or something, you talk to maybe some of the attendees, and then you're all in on your talk. And then afterwards, you want to be there for the attendees. You want to talk to the people who are in the audience, and you don't want to just, get on out of there and then go back to your hotel room and do the things for the day that you need to get done that day. And then you have more travel, and then you get back and it's like, where was I before I left? Like on the actual business side of things. I'll never let down a customer, or at least I'll try not to, but I can let myself down. And I bet you are a lot like that too, just based on the feedback and the emails that I get from you. So what do we do about it? That's the question of the hour, or of the 20 to 30 minutes that we have together. I created something called the Priority Planner Worksheet, and it's just because we need a way to categorize things. So here's how you use this. First, I want you to just go down on the very far left side. And of course, you go download this. Go to amberhurdle.com/podcasts with an S. Yeah, so we're going to be episode number 42. And just look for that episode in podcasts, amberhurdle.com/podcasts with an S, and then go to the show notes so you could download this form. I'm going to try to find ways to make this easier for you. I actually bought some new software. I'm excited to start using that, but we're not there yet because I have a couple more trips out of town, and back to the point, I need to be reasonable with my time. So hopefully I'll be able to get these worksheets to you a little bit faster and easier for you, where you don't have to hunt them down on the website. Okay, so the Priority Planner Worksheet is broken up into different categories. So first column is just writing down your task or project. I don't even want you to think about when you need to have it done, any details about it. Just mind dump whatever is in your brain. I want you to start listing that in that particular column. So if that's like, pay a bill, if that is start, your email marketing, if it is put your customer appreciation sale together, or your live event, or whatever it is that is in your future that is taking up space in your brain, that when you lay down at night, you're like, oh, I didn't get that done. Just write it down on this. And it might be that you don't just sit down and brainstorm this. It might be that you brainstorm some, and then you fold it up and you stick it in your purse, and over the next couple of days, as you have those thoughts, you jot them down. Set this next to your bed on your nightstand. Jot them down when you start having those thoughts, okay? So once you have a good little collection of things that you know are very important and more urgent, or maybe not as urgent, but important to the success of your business. So sometimes we have things that need to get done, like, categorize our expenses, and they don't become urgent until you're staying up all night before taxes are due. So those are the type of things that I want you to write down here. Okay, next column, next to each one of the things that you need to get done, I want you to write down the benefit to your business goals. So I know everybody has glamour goals. If you've read the Bombshell Businesswoman, How to Become a Bold, Brave Female Entrepreneur, there is an entire chapter in there on how to map out your glamour goals. So that is whatever the most important, the most impactful thing that you could possibly do in your business, and then all the little mini goals around that. So you should know what you're working towards in your business. And if you have not completed the Glamour Goals chapter, on chapter 11 in the Bombshell Businesswoman, then you need to go to Amazon or Target.com or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or wherever you go to buy your books, and get my book, and then download the free resources at thebombshellbusinesswoman.com. And I walk you through it, y'all. I mean, there are no excuses. There are no excuses. Now, if you don't have time for that, and you just need to use this worksheet to get your poop in a group so you don't have a panic attack, then just think about, ideally in my business, I would kind of sort of like to do this. That's good enough for now, but you really do need to have goals. So think about, okay, this is a task or project. Here's the benefit to my business goals. So for example, for me, let's just, I need to prep for a speaking engagement. So I need to blah, blah, blah for company XYZ. And the benefit to my business goals is that I have a certain goal related to my speaking this year. I usually do, but this year especially. And so I would write that down, okay? So when you start going down and you realize how many different priorities you have, the ones that connect back to your glamour goals are probably going to be the most important ones to get done. Now, here's the other thing though. Next column, I want you to then list for each individual task or project that you brain dumped into this worksheet, what is the potential negative impact to your business goals, your life, or your health? Now, I've been here and I know you've been here too. If there's something that you're working on that ultimately is going to drain you, stress you out, suck you of energy, take time away from your family that really is not going to amount to anything in the end, then you need to be honest about that. Let's say that it's a volunteer project that you're working on. You're on a board and you're on a committee, and this is something that is on your plate and it's stressing you out. You really don't have the time to do it. I want you to write that down on here, that it is taking you out of your operations. It's putting strain on your team because they don't have their leadership there. And I'm not bashing on volunteering. I volunteer. You should volunteer. But some of us volunteer a little more than they should. There's that need to be needed, and you are professionally volunteering instead of tending to your business. So that's why I'm using that example. Definitely not saying don't volunteer. So I want you to list that. So now you know, here's the task or project. Here's the benefit to my business and my goals. Here's the potential negative impact it might have if I prioritize this. And then I want you to write the deadline down. So taxes, that's a deadline that's coming up. If you're having an event like a customer appreciation event or some kind of promotional event, that's definitely a deadline. If you have to put out your next newsletter, that's a deadline. Okay, so now you have a very clear picture of what is going on in your world and how you want to handle it. Okay, because it's very evident if something is a task or project that has a great benefit to your business, an urgent deadline, and doesn't have a negative impact on your business goals, your life, or your health, it's very clear that you can prioritize that towards the top of the priority list. So then the next column, I want you to just write the priority number. So this is the first priority, the second priority, the third priority, etc. Now, if you want to be really fancy pants, you can then input all of these tasks and to-dos into your project management software. And you're like, what, Amber? What is that? What are you even talking about? So you can get a project management software for free, like Asana. There are definitely other softwares out there as well. Insightly is another one that I like. That, of course, you have to be in the Google for Business suite in order to use Insightly. There's, so many, and I'll try to list them in the show notes. But actually, if you do go to thebombshellbusinesswoman.com and download the free bonuses that come with the book, then you get my toolkit. So my Bombshell Business Tech Toolkit, and it lists all of them there and has links and all that good jazz. So if you are Wilma Flintstone trying to do business in a Jane Jetson world, I got you there. So make sure you do that. But in the meantime, I either just want you to get out a good old piece of paper and write down the three things that you're going to do tomorrow, and then check those off. And when those are off, come back to your priority planning worksheet, find the next three things. You might need to be, it might be an active document for a while as you rethink of things and reprioritize. But the point is, if you take just a little bit of time and go through what you have to do, the impact it's going to have on your business, the potential negative impact that it's going to have on your business, life, or your health, the time-sensitive, deadline-oriented nature of it, you can easily prioritize what's going on and then get your poop in a group. Because that's what we want to do, right? We all want our poop in a group. And then speaking of focus, I have found in the past couple of years that my bombshells have a hard time focusing on next leveling their brand experience. I know many of you have been in business for a few years, or maybe you're wanting to get started in business, or maybe you're leaving corporate and you really want things to be done right, and you don't want to have, a cookie cutter brand. You don't want to have the brand that makes you look like a teenager put your logo and your website together, and you're ready to really elevate your brand experience. And when I say brand experience, I mean, how does your customer experience doing business with you from the time that they instantly see your Facebook page or your website? When they look at your collateral material, maybe they got something like direct mail in the mail, maybe they got an email from you, maybe they saw an ad somewhere and then were interested in you. Does that feel like the level that you want them to feel? Is that the sophistication level that you want them to feel? Is there a disconnect between what your brand looks like and what the real experience is? That's really where I come in and I bridge that gap. And you all know I've done consulting, and I love consulting, and my women work really hard over the course of a few to several months in order to get their brand in check. And we do everything from working with my designer to redo their logo, working with my website designer to elevate the feel of their website. We work on brand messaging. We work on body copy for their website. We work on the red lipstick marketing plan. I mean, we go deep. And then forever and ever, or at least until they decide to up level once again, whether that's in their messaging or maybe their clientele changes, they've got something that they can turn over to creative professionals, so they always stay on brand. So their message is always the same, whether they're hiring people to work on their social media, they can turn this over. Their voice stays the same. They're still speaking to their customer in a way that is appealing to their customer, and they're still presenting their brand visually in a way that brings that customer in to their business family. And so what I've discovered over the past couple of years is that the people who have either flown me out or come to me and did a couple days of just super intense work with some homework and some follow-up, not going to lie, I mean, there's about 30 days of homework and 30 days of follow-up, it's really helped them because they don't have time to get away from operations and figure everything out, and they don't have me right then to answer their questions. And so it's a little bit of a frustrating process, and that's why I'm such a cheerleader, because I understand, like, you're trying to run your life, your family, your employees, your business, you're trying to be a part of your community, and then here you're trying to, go deep and answer all of these questions so that when we have our coaching calls or our consulting calls, we can get it figured out quickly. So this year, I've decided that I am going to offer that same experience beyond the referral process that I've previously limited this experience to. So this year, I've decided to expand this opportunity to people beyond my referral basis. Usually, if I didn't know the person, then it just wasn't even a conversation. I was going to work with them remotely. But I feel like I understand you all so well now that it would be highly unlikely that I would ever make a mistake in bringing somebody into my life for 2 solid days or 3 solid days or however long we decided we needed to work together. And so I want to open it up to my general audience. So this is the Bombshell Branding VIP Retreat. And it's at least 2 days, 3 days if we need to make it 3 days. In Nashville, you come to me, you stay at a hotel, we get you from the airport, and we dive deep into your brand. We do a photo shoot, possibly a video shoot, if that is something that is on your agenda or a need for you. And when you leave, you actually leave with a draft of your brand messaging guide, your visual brand guide development for content to turn over to a graphic designer if we have not already gotten that far in the process. Depending on what type of experience that you want to have with me, you could either have a photography inspiration board to turn over to a photographer, or you can actually have your photos completely done, which is absolutely what I recommend because my photographer is like the best out there. We definitely have a completed photo shoot in that case. Definitely have a draft website package to turn over to a website team. Again, if you work with my website designer, this is a much smoother process, but I don't hold you to it. And then, of course, we have a draft of that red lipstick marketing plan. And I say a draft when you leave Nashville because it's so intense that I don't want you to commit to anything by the end of this. Sometimes you need to go back into your own environment and think about things and look at the big picture one more time and then go in, and then for the next 30 days, you have me as your support to help massage and tweak things. And so by the end of the 30-day experience, then you have your final brand messaging guide. You have your final visual brand guide to include your logo and any secondary logos and emblems and font selections and color codes and brand guidelines, meaning you can use the logo like this, but not like this. It's this color with all of your color codes and all that kind of stuff. All of your edited photographs if you're working with me, your edited video if we decide to go that route. You have your final website package. Websites are not designed overnight, so that process does take a little bit longer, but I do walk you through the initial process of it for your first 30 days. And then, of course, your final red lipstick marketing plan, so you know exactly how to use your brand to attract customers to you. So again, this is 2 to 3 days, and it's completely dependent on what it is that you need done for your brand in your business. And so it's a custom package, and it's different for everyone. So I can't exactly tell you the price on the podcast. You really have to apply. And when I say apply, I'm not trying to be snotty, but I cannot work with everyone, first of all. I'm not right to work with everyone, second of all. And if you listen to me long enough, you know why that is so I won't get into that. And third, I'm inviting you into my world. So you're going to actually come to my house and then come to my office. You are going to be in my environment. We will go out to dinner. It's going to be a very intimate experience with me. And if I am not the right fit for you, you're not going to have fun hanging out with me for a couple days, and I'm going to let you know that because, again, I'm not for everybody. So if this is something that you are interested in and that would work for you, I'm definitely booked up through March and into April. So if it's an urgent need, you can apply and let me know that, and I can talk to you about how I can help you otherwise. But if you want to do the VIP retreat, it's get in now because get your application in now because I do book up and life is busy. So, go to amberhurdle.com/VIP-retreat. Again, that's amberhurdle.com/VIP-retreat, and that's where you can get more information about it and where you can apply to be considered for one of the spots. This is a very intense process, so if you cannot handle the velvet machete, I'm probably not for you. I could probably refer you to somebody. And when I say velvet machete, remember the velvet part of it. This is not you come in and I'm going to be like a cruel person to you, but I'm going to shoot you straight and I'm going to keep you on track. And if you don't get your homework turned in, I'm going to crack the whip, because if you don't get your homework turned in, then our 2 days or 3 days together will be ineffective and we won't get done what we need to get done. So if you want to get out of your business into the most fun town in all of America, just read the internet. Come to Nashville, then go to amberhurdle.com/VIP-retreat, and we can chit chat about that. So I hope that you use this Priority Planner Worksheet and you can prioritize if rebranding or even just tweaking your brand and elevating your brand is on your agenda in the near future. If not, whatever those priorities are for you, get real with yourself, sit down, buckle down. You can do this while watching TV or while you're doing homework with your kids. They're working on your homework. You could be like, this is mom's homework, and get this done. Again, you can find this worksheet at amberhurdle.com/podcasts and look for episode 42. And I'd love to hear from you. Have an amazing week, Bombshells. Thanks for listening to the Bombshell Business Podcast. Visit amberhurdle.com for more resources like show notes, and check out thebombshellbusinesswoman.com to grab my book and download the free bonuses.